Hello, audience. Welcome back to Planet 98. My name is Austin. His name is Justin.
Hello.
And today we are doing our Spider-Man Homecoming review. The newest movie in the MCU and probably my most anticipated movie in the MCU. This movie is about a boy named Peter Parker, with the help of his mentor, Tony Stark, tries to balance his life as an ordinary high school student in New York City while fighting crime as a superhero alter ego, Spider-Man, when a new threat emerges. Now, this film stars a lot of people, so sit down and get ready for all these names. Tom Holland as Peter Parker, Michael Keaton as Adrian Toome, Robert Downey Jr. as Tony Stark, Marissa Tomei as May Parker, Jon Favreau as Happy Hogan, Zendaya as Michelle, Jacob Batalon as Ned, Laura Harrier as Liz, Tony Revolori as Flash, and it goes on and on and on. This movie has a ton of people and a ton of characters. But without further ado, let's get into it. Now, me and Justin have watched every single Spider-Man movie leading up to Homecoming, so we have a lot of, well, at least Justin now has a lot of insight into the old Spider-Man movies. So let's see what he thinks, how he thinks this one stacks up to those.
So walking out of the theater, I wasn't quite sure how I felt about this movie. Like, I enjoyed it for the most part. But I left, like, Guardians 2 feeling a lot more, like, excited and, like, joyous about what I just watched as compared to, like, Spider-Man, where I was like, it was okay. Which is how I still feel. I just feel like it was okay. I didn't think it was the best Marvel movie to date, but I don't think it was the worst either. There's a lot worse movies they have made in the past, 10 years now?
Almost a decade.
Yeah.
9 years.
So, it's just okay. But there were things in it that were really cool to see. Like, the Vulture, actually seeing him, like, in full force on the big screen. Like, he looked really cool. Like, in the trailers, he looked alright, but he wasn't anything, like, special to me. But in the movie itself, he's actually really cool. And of course, the twist is, it's always the father. That's, like, the twist, always, forever. So, just, like, seeing that was, like, that part I could have went without, but I also understand, but it was like, I don't know, I'm trying to work through my thoughts. Talk to me a little bit. You tell me some things.
So, of course, with the other ones, I enjoy most all of the Spider-Man movies.
Mm-hmm.
I can find enjoyment in all of them. And this one's no different. I had a great time in this movie. It was fantastic to me, and that's coming from a Spider-Man fan since I was 4 years old.
And me, who is not a Spider-Man fan whatsoever. Like, he's an okay hero, but he is not even, like, my top 5 or top 10. So,
you know, since the original Tobey Maguire one, you know, Spider-Man has been my bud, and he's followed me all these years. For the past, I have an alarm going off. For the past, what would it be, like 13, 14 years.
mm-hmm.
He's been my favorite hero for Marvel, and you know, when the MCU started, I didn't really know much about, you know, characters, and who owned them, and you know, I didn't really think much of the shared universe. But now that I'm really into that, I was super pumped to hear that Marvel got back Spider-Man. Seeing him in Civil War was fantastic. It was a great entry. For me, he basically stole the show for the scenes he was in.
Let's talk about that for a sec. the opening to Spider-Man: Homecoming, I thought was really clever in the way
Yeah,
of vlogging is the biggest thing on the internet right now, or one of the biggest things. Seeing him just like make like a video diary, I thought was really cool, and him like bringing his camera into battle, I thought was really cool. And
yeah,
seeing the events play out from his perspective, I actually really thought that was cool because you don't see stuff like that ever really
yeah.
happen.
And that's where I think one of the plot holes for this movie were. You see him flip in, and then steal the shield and land, and he says, "Hey, everyone." There was a whole conversation before he said that.
Hmm.
So it acts like the trailer where he flips in and automatically says, "Hey, everyone," when in actuality, that moment in the trailer where he says, "Hey, everyone," is not where he says that. He says it later in the conversation. And I feel like that's where one of the plot holes are, is that there was a conversation that was had, but for saving time, I don't know why they didn't include it, but there's that.
Hmm.
I did notice that. I was like, there's more dialogue between more characters before he says, "Hey, everyone." Um, but yeah, I thought that was really cool. I really enjoyed the opening. You know, it basically opens up on Tomb, Michael Keaton's character, um, picking up the rubble and the alien technology after the battle on New York.
Hmm.
Um,
So I did watch one video while I was waiting for you to get done with whatever you were doing, and so we could record this. And it was basically like Easter eggs and stuff. And so Avengers took place in like 2012, the first one, and this movie is like 8 years later, which means either Avengers didn't actually take place in 2012, it took place in like 2009, or this movie's in 2020. One of the two. So there's some kind of timeline issue there that needs to be ironed out.
I wonder if that's at the big plot hole.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that yeah, I think that is a big pothole that everybody was talking about that you will notice.
Um, yeah, probably. But I did like seeing Michael Keaton's character open up the movie because you kind of get to know the villain, you know, right
Mm-hmm.
off the bat, instead of learning your hero, and then the villain is just like shoehorned in. Like he just pops up sometime. I like to see that the reason why he's doing what he's doing.
Mm-hmm.
And they finally introduced Damage Control, which is the cleanup crew in the Marvel Universe.
Yeah, they
After
mentioned them
every
before, but this is the first time I actually saw them doing their thing.
so like introducing them was really cool. Seeing them take over, um, I thought it was really cool. Um, you get to see three Marvel villains in this movie, or three Spider-Man villains. I mean, technically, you get to see one towards the very end in a post-credit scene, um, but the three that you see in this one all working together are the Tinkerer, of course, the Vulture, and then Shocker. And technically, you did see Scorpion earlier in the movie.
Mm-hmm.
He wasn't just in the post-credit scene; he was on the ship. He was one of the bad guys that
Okay, yeah.
Spider-Man basically captured on the boat.
Mm-hmm.
But you actually get to see him and hear him, and actually realize that's him at the end of the movie. But seeing the Tinkerer, who is a person who has built so many weapons for Marvel villains. I mean, he built Mysterio's costume.
So I wonder if we'll get that since Tinkerer is still alive. So
Yeah, I mean,
and not in jail.
he's basically, I don't know, MIA. He's just gone.
Yeah.
Um, and of course, he builds the stuff for Vulture. He builds the stuff for Shocker. I wouldn't be surprised if he builds the stuff for the
So
Scorpion.
the thing, Shocker's concussive gloves were actually crossbones. So that's something they picked up along the way from Damage Control when they steal things.
How could they be crossbones?
Because Crossbone had concussive gloves, did he not?
Yeah, but I mean, he blew up.
Did his gloves blow up?
I mean, I'd assume so.
Maybe they flew off, or maybe some of the tech still survived and they rebuilt them. I don't know.
I don't know. I don't really know how. I
That's
don't
just the
really
thing I
remember
heard.
if Crossbones. I'm not sure. But I mean, let's talk about the villains real quick, just individually.
Yeah.
Let's start with the minor villains. Shocker. I thought I was really confused because I kept on. I didn't. We stopped watching after trailer 2.
Yeah.
And though I saw little pictures here and there, I didn't see major spoilers really for this movie at all.
I was forced into seeing the 4th trailer when I went to see Transformers, because it was in the previews and I did not want to see it, but I was forced into seeing it.
But I kept on saying 2 shockers.
Yeah.
The white guy and the black guy, and I was like, I've seen the black guy in most of the stuff, but who is this white dude? Like, who is he? Why is he also Shocker? Like, why is there 2 Shockers in the MCU? That stuff is answered in the movie, of course. How the other guy became Shocker, the actual guy, how he became the Shocker.
Mm-hmm.
I really like his gloves. I thought that him showing up wasn't too shoehorned in. It just felt like, Vulture is, he's the guy that is the most important on the team,
Mm-hmm.
which means he does, most of the, stealing all the tech and stuff, because he can fly in and fly out. He has these, super strong. He has more, more use to him than any other villains. And then you see Shocker just show up. I mean, Vulture left. He already knows who Spider-Man is. He knows it's Pete. And just in case Pete follows him, he told Shocker to stay there. Pete comes out. Shocker's there to stop him because, of course, they're trying to get to the plane. So I thought that was really cool. I liked the fight scene of him throwing Pete's ass around the bus yard.
Mm-hmm.
And that was really cool. We need to stop. Alright, so, as I was saying, with Shocker, cool character. I liked the scene with him and Pete, beating up Pete. And it was really nice, to see. Just this kind of, this guy is not fully developed. He was never, he just was handed these gauntlets and he just showed up. And that was cool. I know there was other pictures of a more fleshed out Shocker with mask and everything.
Mm-hmm.
Never got to see that in the movie. I don't know, why that was cut out. But you basically got to see an unmasked Shocker,
which was fine. He looked all right.
You got to see, his yellow, some of his yellow costume being just a yellow long sleeve shirt. To the Tinkerer was cool. I mean, I enjoy his character. I thought he was fine. I thought he was kind of funny. He was just that behind the scenes guy creating all the tech, making everything work, planning everything out. And that was nice. I mean, he's a smart guy, and I remember seeing him towards the beginning of the movie when they're cleaning up stuff to cleaning up New York, and I was like, oh, okay, that's Tinkerer.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, okay, then you see him pull down his magnifying goggles and go to work on stuff. And then Vulture, Justin already talked about how cool he was. I didn't really know what to think about Vulture. I thought he looked cool. I thought he looked kind of menacing in the trailers.
Mm-hmm.
And I was just excited to see what Michael Keaton can do. Because, of course, he's already played Batman, who's my favorite DC villain, DC hero. I heard he did a fantastic job in Birdman, playing another superhero,
Mm-hmm.
and then, becoming Vulture. I was just excited to see what he could do. I want to see, because, not only has he played Batman, who is menacing in his own, but he's also played the Ken doll in Toy Story. So, I mean, he can be really happy.
I didn't actually know that.
yeah, he could be very happy, uplifting, like I'm the Ken doll, and he can also be Batman.
Mm-hmm.
And he was really cool. I liked his character a lot. I liked that the entire movie, you see this guy a lot, but you really don't know who he is. You really don't know, does he have a family? You heard him say he had a family. Does he actually have one, or is he just what's he trying to do? And then, completely unbeknownst to the audience, Pete is getting ready for the homecoming dance, and he goes and picks up his date. And who opens the door but Tomb, the vulture? And you're like, oh god, there was audible gasps in the theater.
Yeah, one thing I enjoy is this movie, even though I feel like they showed a lot within the trailers, there was still a lot of surprises left to show.
Yeah.
And I'm really grateful about that. Like, one surprise we'll get to in a little bit, but yeah. I, just like everybody else in the theater, had that moment of like, fuck. Of course. It's the father.
Yeah, and that to me was good. I mean, you got to see, Peter's crush. He really does like this girl.
Mm-hmm.
And he finally builds up the courage to ask her out, does it, and then finds out the man that he's been trying to stop for the past, I don't know, couple weeks, is the father of this girl, and it doesn't take Michael Keaton long to figure out who
Takes
Peter
him a car
is.
ride.
Yeah, it just took him a car ride to figure it out, and honestly, I mean, it was pretty obvious. I mean, he basically gave us everything that led him to believe that Peter was Spider-Man.
Yeah, like, one thing that people never really pick up on, like, whether them be friends or villains, is they never, like, match voices. They're never like, oh, this is what Spider-Man sounds like. This is what Peter Parker sounds like. Oh, they sound exactly the same. But
Yeah.
that's one of the things that Vulture picked up on, was like, I heard that voice before. What was that voice? Oh, it's Spider-Man. Oh, you're Spider-Man. Fuck.
Yeah, and then also he's like, you weren't in the elevator with the rest of the students, but you were there, but you ran out, but Spider-Man's in Queens, why is he in DC now? Oh, there's another thing.
Mm-hmm.
You're Spider-Man, and then, yeah, so I mean, it was pretty obvious. I mean, it's pretty quick. I mean, it showed that Vulture really isn't this dumb guy who is just a thief. I mean, he's a smart guy.
There actually, you can make a lot of comparisons between the Vulture and the first Green Goblin, because it's the father of a friend, finds out it's Peter Parker, and like uses like a lot of tech. So there is a couple good comparisons there between Willem Dafoe's Green Goblin and the Vulture.
Yeah.
Which I kind of put it together in my head. At the same time, it's like I never truly thought those two things together.
One has a glider, one has gliding wings.
Yeah. So it's truthfully, though I don't know what their stance is on Green Goblin right now. They might be building towards that. They might not be. Who knows? It's probably the best they could do for a first movie without copying the first movie.
I really, because I've seen, like I said, I've seen the first two trailers, and some of the posters have a Vulture on it,
Mm-hmm.
but it's not fully CGI. It's just like he's really high up in the sky, or it's actually a drawing of the Vulture. So I didn't really get to see much of the Vulture's costume and his suit and how it worked and what it was about. And then when you finally see it, you're just like, that's fucking dope.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he, of course, is wearing this big jacket because, of course, when you're up there,
It's fucking
you get
cold.
cold. And he has a respirator on because, of course, when you're up there, there's not much oxygen.
Yeah, and one thing I like to point out is like his glowing green eyes. They're fucking spooky.
Yeah, it's for night vision, which is really dope because you can see him use his night vision. And just his whole pilot uniform thing, the way he takes off his mask, he pops off the respirator, and then the mask just kind of folds in, and he can just like throw it off to the side. The wings really cool. I like that it didn't take forever for him to put them on and off. It wasn't.
Yeah, it really just snapped on, snapped off.
Yeah, and there's like parts where when he's first trying to get the Chitauri tech in DC. He puts those little matter manipulator things that he can slip through, and he just hooks his wings onto these strings and leaves his wings there.
Yeah.
And he goes in, and then Spider-Man goes in behind him, or actually Spider-Man's outside, and then Vulture comes out because he realizes, I guess, that Spider-Man's out there or something's out there.
Or he got what he was looking for or something.
Yeah, and then he comes out and just jumps up and attaches to his wings, and then gets into the fight with Spider-Man for a bit. I really dug his costume. I really did.
Yeah, it was really cool.
Just all of it was just really sweet.
Back to his costume for 1 second. Taking it from like the comic rendition of the Vulture to this, they really took complete creative liberties, and it worked out 100%.
Yeah, because I mean, the way the Vulture suit works in the comics is it's called his harness. It's a harness that he wears that allows him to fly and build mass amounts of speed. It gives him a strength ability. Because you got to remember, Vulture in the comic books is an old man.
I mean, he is kind of old in here too. He's that age. He's a little older than that age.
But he's not grandpa age.
Yeah, he's not like 70. He's like maybe 50 at most.
Yeah, and I believe in the comic books, Vulture, he was in business with somebody, and the person backstabbed them. So he decided to become the Vulture to steal back his company, or steal stuff from the company, which kind of happens in this movie. I mean, he's hired in, and then somebody else comes and takes it from under his feet, and he's like, "Fuck them! We're gonna take all this tech and we're gonna sell it that they're cleaning up." So it's kind of similar, and I mean, in this movie, it's almost like a literal harness that's put on him that he allows him to fly. So similar, but when it comes to visually, yeah. Very different. They have like the little bit of like tufted fur on the jacket.
But that's just kind of a pilot thing already, because to keep your neck warm.
Which is cool, but it's also he has a tough one around his neck too. So just because I thought it was cool.
Yeah.
Let's move on to some of the other characters. Let's talk about Ned, his man in the chair. I really like Ned. I thought he was funny. I thought a lot of his reactions were genuine. I loved seeing him react with Peter and Spider-Man, and really just excited. I mean, this, like he said, this is like the biggest thing that's happened in his entire life, and it's really not entirely happening to him. It just so happens that his best friend is Spider-Man, and he's just freaking out. Because, he's finding out all this new stuff. They're finding out all the stuff that the suit can do. Peter's all over the news. Peter's has a crush on Spider-Man. He's just freaking out. And some of the stuff that he says, just these little one-liners, they're really funny. And that they got a lot of good chuckles out of me. I love the scene when Pete leaves the homecoming dance to, of course, go up to the Vulture. And Ned goes into the library. He's using the computer, and a teacher comes in. He just said, and then she's like, "What are you doing in here?" And he's just like, "Watching porn." It's just like, oh my god, how to get out of that? What was the punishment for that?
I'm sure it was not great.
But yeah, it's just there's so many little things in this movie. Another thing that Ned does is we're going to get to it in just a second. The DC scene, when Spider-Man's trying to pull up the elevator, and Ned's moving around like, oh my god, this is crazy, and he's just like, Spider-Man says, settle down, big guy, and he's like, oh yeah, I'm sorry, Mr. Spider-Man. It's just like, I just love that. I just love how he's just like, oh yeah, I'm sorry, Mr.
We're literally
Spider-Man.
saying, we can call you Mister. Just to save face.
But yeah, let's talk about the DC scene.
Mm-hmm.
You start off.
I enjoyed that they were like, oh, he's a superhero, they didn't go with oh, he's a superhero, he can do whatever he wants. The police actually came up to him and were like, what the fuck are you doing? We're going to shoot you down from the Washington Monument if you don't stop trying to break into it. Because even though I'm sure most people at this point knew about Spider-Man because of like YouTube, like it's still like, what the fuck are you doing? And that was cool to see. That superheroes aren't without, or superheroes still can get in trouble for shit things.
Yeah, boundaries.
Yeah. Even though he's completely in the right because they were going to die if he did not get in there in time.
Yeah, because Susan, I believe her name was Susan, right?
Whose?
Wasn't his AI Susan?
Oh, Karen.
Karen, yeah. Because Karen was like, you have like 120 seconds to get in there because they're in mortal danger.
Yeah, I was like, you have 10 minutes to get in there, and then he starts climbing. He's like, you have 125 seconds due to unforeseen circumstances. Like, god damn it.
And he's like, this is like a show for how like Peter is. I mean, he is still new to all this stuff. I mean, he's not a seasoned veteran.
Yeah, he's like a few months into being a superhero.
And he is trying his hardest to get up this, because like in the old ones you see Spider-Man, he's just like, he's climbing up a building in like a minute.
Mm-hmm. Like as soon as he gets his powers, he's fighting crime. But this Spider-Man is helping women with directions and saving people's bikes from getting stolen and doing small things like that. He's not just fighting crime instantly.
Yeah, and like watching him try to climb up this Washington Monument and running out of breath.
Like, even though
like,
Tom Holland is pretty ripped for being, he's still kind of scrawny, but he's still ripped as hell. It's like,
yeah, and that's just one of the things, that happens when he got bit.
Yeah,
he just got bit. His muscles just instant six pack.
Because spiders are the most muscular creatures on this planet.
They're very muscular. They can lift up. They can lift many weight above their weight. But I love just seeing him like try his best. I mean, he says he's never been that high before. I highly doubt that. I mean, he's swinging around the city. He's probably been, just as high. But of course, he was also in a plane at the beginning of the movie, which is much higher than that.
Mm-hmm. But I mean, being in a plane and being on top of the Washington Monument are two different kind of perspectives of height. God damn it, words.
Yes, but I feel like Spider-Man might have been that high before.
Maybe, probably.
But I'll give him the benefit of the doubt and just say, okay, he's just scared of heights. I mean, he's just not used to it yet.
Mm-hmm.
Seeing him save everyone was really, really cool.
We saw this in the trailers, but the spider drone was really cool to see.
Yeah, it was cute.
It's a really good asset to him that the other Spider-Man did not have.
Yeah, I love seeing Pete saves the day, as you see in the movie. He finally gets his lady love out of the elevator, and Karen's like, kiss her.
Yeah, they're trying to they were basically like edging on like, yes, do that iconic kiss scene, the upside down kiss scene. Yes, do it, and it's like, and nope.
And then he falls. And then the drone is just squeaking its way down.
Yeah.
It's just like doing these weird squeaks, and it's just flying after him.
Mm-hmm.
And that was just really cute. You got to see the drone one other time in this movie. Spider-Man has a lot of tech in this movie.
A lot more than any other Spider-Man ever in one sitting.
Yeah, I mean, you saw Spider-Man before. He's strung multiple webs before. He shot webs like bullets before. He's technically electrified his webs before,
but not like this.
But they caught on fire.
Mm-hmm.
He's done some basic. He's done like slingshots and stuff. But in this one, I mean, he has electrified webs. He has web bullets. He has web bombs.
Yeah, web grenades. All a bunch of different things. Rapid fire.
Things. He also has a ton of tech when it comes to the drone. He also has almost like this glowing feature that allows him like to glow in the dark.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, he has the AI and Karen.
What's the word? Like when he was listening to the men in their van. I forget what they called it, but he can hear through walls and shit like that.
Yeah, he also has infrared vision.
Mm-hmm.
I'm assuming X-ray vision, maybe. I don't know, what fully he has.
He has instant kill.
Yeah, instant kill. I love when his eyes completely shut and there's just this glowing red eyes, which I'm fairly certain is a nod towards the Superior Spider-Man.
Possibly.
Because I believe he has completely like black eyes with little red dots.
One thing that I saw in a video, is that like when Ned was like asking like all these different things, like the army of spiders thing could be a nod to Superior Spider-Man because he had an army of like robotic spiders.
And he does.
Yeah. So that could be a nod to that.
And I mean, he also had like little tracker spiders that would climb around.
Mm-hmm.
Ton of technology, and
parachute.
And he had a parachute, which was really cool, seeing the spider logo pop off.
Yeah, which is a very ingenious thing to have because he's up high, and sometimes he can't just swing his way down because sometimes there's not things to grapple onto.
Yeah, and Spider-Man can make web parachutes.
Yeah, but I feel like it wouldn't look quite right. So having an actual parachute is a cool thing.
It didn't work.
I mean, yeah, but that's kind of no fault of the parachute itself. It was just bad circumstances that it popped out.
So a ton of technology, which is really cool. Of course, the suit.
It was like he has like 500 different combinations of webs he can shoot out of both wrists.
He had tons.
Yeah.
It was 5,000.
It was either 500 or 5,000. It's some ungodly amount that he'll never get around to using all of.
No. And just hearing the interaction between Karen and him was really cool. Let's talk about the other guy in this movie, Tony Stark, and his contribution to Peter and what his role in this movie was. Go.
He's definitely crafting Peter basically into becoming a new leader. He's definitely like molding him and helping him along, which makes sense because like give him his suit, show him the ropes, make sure he is as good of a superhero as he can be. Which is good to see. Yeah, be better. Don't be me. Be better than me. I thought he was a pretty good mentor. He had some tough love where he took away his suit for a while. And I'm actually surprised that he didn't get his Stark suit back for the final battle, which was kind of cool to see, but at the same time it was kind of surprising. But that's not at the moment what we're talking about. We're talking about Stark himself. We did see some of his scenes within trailers, like the hug and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And then like one of the scenes kind of towards the end, where they're just walking towards the end of the movie. They saw like either a part from that or a picture or something. Which I think he was just a good mentor in this movie. He didn't do as much as he could have. But that's kind of not his thing. He's not the hand-holding type. He's the here's the suit. Go learn how to do things, but don't do all the things because I don't want you to do all the things. Learn things first.
Yeah.
If that made any sense.
The little training wheel mechanic.
Yeah, training wheels. What was it called? I just had the word in my head. Whatever. It's the training wheels, and also the baby monitor.
Yeah, I love that one.
Yeah.
The baby monitor, recording everything, and he's just like doing impressions and doing
I'm Thor.
Stuff.
This is my Thor hammer.
Yeah.
That was great. Let's talk about that scene that was in the trailers for a second. I know we're talking about characters, but just that the bank robbery scene, which we got the extended version of in the movie, of course.
Yeah, you're not the real Avengers was never in there.
Yeah.
They completely changed the line.
Yeah,
to,
it's like
you're the Avenger or the Avengers or something like that.
It's like the Avengers wouldn't be robbing a bank.
Yeah, yeah.
And it's like, oh, Hulk and Thor, I haven't met you guys yet. And then, kind of as a nod, he made Hulk punch Thor.
Yeah.
So I like that. I like that whole scene. That whole scene was great. So back to characters. What do you think about Tony Stark?
I thought he was fine. I definitely didn't want him to have a big role in this movie, which they didn't do.
Mm-hmm.
So I thank them for that because I didn't want, you know, the MCU's probably most notable character overshadowing their newest character.
Yeah, he's basically the mascot of the MCU. He started
Um,
it all. He's going to probably be like the last person in Infinity War to stand up.
yeah. So I enjoyed that he only had a couple scenes. A lot of them were in the trailers.
Yeah, we saw him in the van on the bridge or whatever it was where he was talking and taking the suit away, and then at the new Avengers compound.
Yeah.
So we saw all three of his scenes.
I thought he was fine. He was pretty cool. I'm pretty sure you also saw him. You also saw him when he saved Pete from the water.
You might have.
It was just his suit, basically, but you didn't really know it was just his suit.
Mm-hmm. But you can kind of tell by the voice, because even though when his voice is kind of manipulated when he's in the suit, this still sounded a bit different than that also.
Yeah, which was just him phoning in.
Yeah, literally.
He also had the instant drying thing on his
Yeah,
suit.
that was a great idea.
What else? Yeah, I thought he was fine. People were expecting him to be the Uncle Ben character. He wasn't.
Mm-hmm.
At least not to me. He wasn't. I've also heard other people say that maybe Happy was to be the Uncle Ben character,
Which he really wasn't either.
Happy didn't want anything to do with him.
Yeah.
So really, the Uncle Ben character wasn't in this movie.
The Uncle Ben character is the Uncle Ben character because that still happened.
Yeah, like Uncle Ben is still. They basically make one nod reference alluding to Uncle Ben, and that's when Ned said, does May know? And he's like, no, May cannot know.
Yeah, she's got a lot going on. She
already has a lot going on.
Yeah.
So that I'm assuming is Uncle Ben.
I'm assuming that is still somewhat recent in their lives.
Yeah, I'm assuming it's in the past year it happened, maybe.
Yeah.
So they nodded towards it, but
they also said like, yeah, I was bitten by a spider. So they have the explanation there. They just didn't show it.
Yeah, which is fine. I mean, we've already had 2 movies to show that.
Mm-hmm.
What else? So Tony Stark was fine. I don't know what scene he was wearing the cat shirt in.
It was in the car.
Is in the car?
Yeah.
Alright. The homemade suit, I really like it. I really like the homemade suit. My favorite Spider-Man costume is Scarlet Spider, Ben Reilly's costume.
Mm-hmm.
I love the full red suit with the blue hoodie. Do it in reverse, and that's what this one is.
Mm-hmm.
Or no, it's not. No, it's not. It's
blue
just,
hoodie,
it's fucking same thing.
or blue long sleeve and red hoodie.
Yeah. So they basically did it in this movie.
Mm-hmm.
Ben Reilly's suit, which he also had blue pants. That's
yeah,
what it
blue
is.
sweats.
Which they did that in this movie, which made me love it even more. I loved the little goggle things he had on.
Mm-hmm. It still allowed him to emote while not being completely the same as his mask. Comparing it to the homemade suits, it's a lot better.
Yeah.
Like Tobey Maguire's homemade suit is kind of like you would expect somebody to do, is like just put on a long sleeve shirt and a ski mask. But also makes you look kind of like a bank robber.
Sure.
So this one makes more sense. It looks more like a wannabe hero-esque.
Yeah, and Andrews was just like a red mask with sunglasses.
Yeah.
Which was also fine. It's something that a lot of people probably would do.
Mm-hmm.
This one was definitely a kid that was really, really excited that he got powers, and he actually spent time on his first costume because he wasn't really expecting to get a better costume.
Yeah, he was like, I made my own. I'll work with it.
Yeah, and I liked it. I really dug it. A lot of people love that costume. Some more than the actual costume that Tony made.
Yeah, I mean,
I
like,
love.
it's because his homemade suit is unique, while the suit Tony made, while cool, is the Spider-Man suit.
Yeah, which I love both the suits. I think they're both really, really cool.
Yeah.
So let's talk about more of. I mean, we've talked about a lot of spoiler stuff, but let's get into the final acts of the movie, I guess.
I mean, I think there's one character we should talk about first, before all else, and that is the most divisive character of the movie, and that is Michelle.
Zendaya's character.
Yeah. You tell me what you think about her first.
So we talked about it a little bit in the car.
Mm-hmm.
So as a character, I was fine with her. She felt like a student that I've gone to school with. And I know that girl. Not everyone in this school is like a stereotype. Like, I felt like in this school there wasn't the skater kids, there wasn't the jocks, there wasn't the preppy girls, there wasn't the nerdy kids. Everyone was just who they were.
Yeah, I mean, this school is also not just a typical high school. It was a school specifically for science and technology.
Yeah.
So you wouldn't have really your jocks or your nerdy kids, even though there were sports.
I mean, there were. I mean, you got to see. I mean, you got to see them like cocky kids like Flash.
Yeah.
Who, of course, is like the bully of Peter Parker, which he did bully Peter Parker, but he was also like a rival to Pete.
Yeah.
Like, they were equals, in the sense of like Flash isn't this big brooding bully jock football guy, but he still is a bully.
Mm-hmm.
But he's just very cocky and very envious of Pete's smarts. But yeah, going back to Zendaya's character, I felt like I knew that girl. I felt like I've been to school with that girl, or a few people I've gone to school with have made up her.
Mm-hmm.
I liked her kind of this like no shit given attitude, but also still has things that she believes in. I mean, everyone else went up in the Washington Monument, and then there was this whole scene where it's like, I'm not going up in something that was built by slaves, and then the teacher's just like, this thing wasn't built by slaves, and looks over to the guard, and he's just like, kind of, and he's just like, well, enjoy your book. And also when she's in detention, and she's not supposed to be there, but she just likes.
She likes to antagonize people basically by drawing them and showing them her drawings.
Yeah. I enjoyed her. I mean, she was barely in the movie enough for me to be totally opposed to her, because she wasn't annoying.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there's characters that are in movies that only have small roles that are annoying and that you can't wait to leave, but she was not in the movie that much, and also she didn't really have a huge part of the. She didn't really have like a huge like grievance to her.
Mm-hmm.
There was nothing I was annoyed about until you kind of get to the end when it's revealed, not revealed, but it's kind of like, she's like, call me MJ. Which...
That's the most divisive part of her character.
Has a lot of people mixed, because though she is not Mary Jane, she's not Mary Jane.
Mm-hmm.
That's one thing that a lot of people are like, oh, like they lied about that. They said that she is 100% not Mary Jane at all. Zendaya came out and said she's not Mary Jane. The director came out, she's not Mary Jane. Tom Holland, she's not Mary Jane.
Because she's not Mary Jane, but she is MJ.
But she is MJ. Which
is a name that Mary Jane is very frequently called.
Yeah.
It's just they share the name and not much else, because they're two completely different characters. In how they act and everything about them, they're two completely different characters.
Yeah.
But one thing I'm on the side where I didn't really care for her character. She was just so moody, and I just didn't care for her too much. She didn't really do anything for me. She didn't add anything to the movie. She was just kind of just there. And I kind of hope they're not alluding to a relationship between Peter and MJ.
Oh, they are.
I mean, I was like, either stick with Liz because I like them two together, or I kind of hope they just go the route of he doesn't really need a love interest. Because the first one had Mary Jane, second one had Gwen Stacy, and Peter Parker's original love interest in the comics is Liz, so it's either like stick with that, or he doesn't really need one, because this universe, though there have been love interests, like something we'll talk about in a little bit, they're not really dependent on them, like he kind of was in the other Spider-Man movies, where a big part of who he was his girlfriend. Like, he's either getting help from her or saving her.
Yeah.
So this Peter Parker doesn't seem like he really needs that much. Or at least like save it to like his senior year, because now he still seems like a really young kid. He's literally 15. He doesn't need a big, massive love interest right now.
Well, Liz is moving.
Yeah, to Oregon, of all states.
Yeah. So, moving to Oregon, she's not going to be around anymore unless something else happens that allows her to stay. But I think that they're leading up to Zendaya's character becoming the love interest. I think that what's going to happen is they're going to do a whole Cinderella moment where, you know, she's kind of like this, don't give a shit, doesn't wear makeup, wears, you know, just these baggy clothes, kind of tomboyish, whatever, which, you know, of course, you know, Peter Parker could, you know, think of as hot or beautiful, that's fine. But I think they're going to do this whole Cinderella moment, maybe at the senior year prom, maybe, where she comes in and
Spider-Man prom.
Yeah, Spider-Man prom. Where she's just beautiful, and like, because Zendaya's a beautiful girl.
Yeah.
Like, she's extremely pretty.
Yeah.
And in this movie, they you know, made her just this very I don't give a shit character. I think they're going to do a Cinderella moment with her, whether it be in the next one or the final movie. I think it's going to be the next one, because of course, like getting a love interest at the final movie in the trilogy, especially since, you know, you're building up to it, and it kind of just, I don't know. So yeah, she is who she is. She's going to be in the next one without a doubt. Most of the characters are going to be. So let's move on to let's just go on to the final scenes and the final thoughts and the final speculations. Final scene: Pete at the new Avengers compound. Tony's there, Happy's there, and Tony says, "You know, you did a good job." Happy says, "Thanks for saving my ass." Yada yada. You know, thanks for getting all my tech back. Thanks for catching the vulture. You know, I did believe in you, but I need you to believe in yourself and to fight this without, you know, to basically be Spider-Man and not be, you know, a suit.
Be more than just a hero, also be you.
And then he offers him a chance to become a part of the team and to do more training and stuff, and then out pops a new suit,
Beautiful
which is
new suit.
MCU's version of the Iron Spider suit. And my jaw fucking dropped.
I could hear you making noises.
I was just like, what is that? And I pointed towards the screen and just started like pounding my girlfriend's thigh, just like, what is that? And I was just like, holy, because it's definitely not the comic book Iron Spider.
Yeah, it doesn't have his iron legs or iron arms or whatever you want to call them.
It's also not golden red.
Yeah, it's more towards this suit, but with a more metallic look to it.
And that's just fucking dope. Like, the suit looks really cool. And of course, Pete turns it down and says, you know what?
I just want to be a friendly neighborhood Spider-Man.
Yeah, he needs more training. And he needs more, you know, at home. He doesn't need to, you know, he doesn't need to be this kid that's joining this team and...
But now I have to wonder what makes him change his mind on that, because he's in Infinity War.
I feel
and that's like there's, I don't know if he's in any of the movies until Infinity War.
No.
So, it's like, when does he change his mind?
I feel like it's going to be this whole thing of, I don't know how far Infinity War is in the future.
Probably
I don't know.
a year or two.
I don't know how far it is, so maybe, he's an older kid now.
Mm-hmm. He's grown up, he's done some more heroing, so feels like he's more ready to take it on.
Yeah, he might be 16, 17.
18 maybe.
In the Infinity War, so who really knows?
Mm-hmm. Infinity War comes out 2019?
2018, 2019.
Okay, so yeah,
wait, hold on.
Does the first one come out next year?
I feel like it comes out in 2019, 2020.
I can't remember anymore. I'll look it up.
No, because 2020 is... I don't fucking know anymore.
I'll look it up real quick while you keep talking.
But yeah, that was really, really cool. Seeing that Inspire suit, seeing Pete be like, you know what? No thanks. I'm gonna head out. I don't want to jump into this right now. So I'm just gonna go.
It's 2018.
Okay, so next year.
So something changes his mind in the beginning of Infinity War. Has to.
Yeah. And then this is a scene that got Justin excited for some reason. I'll let him talk about it.
I can't quite tell you why it got me excited, but just it did. And it's just the fact that Gwyneth Paltrow reprised her role as Pepper Potts, and she basically agreed to marry Tony Stark. I don't know why that got me happy and excited. That's just like the one love story in the MCU that actually finally has a conclusion to it. Because, like, Jane's gone, Agent Carter's dead, Agent 13, I don't know what's happening there. But, like, this is, like, the one that actually worked out, and it made me happy for who knows why.
I loved when Happy said I've been
carrying this ring since 2008.
Which is when Iron Man came out.
Yeah.
And it's also really cool because it's like Jon Favreau directed Iron Man.
Mm-hmm.
And he also played Happy, and he's been following these characters all these years, and he finally pulls them together.
Mm-hmm. I think the thing that kind of got me happy was like they were like, yeah, Jane Foster's not coming back, Pepper Potts is not really coming back. It's like they were like, these people are not coming back. So it's like just seeing her come back, even though we're like, yeah, she's not here anymore. It's like it just, I don't know why, it just made me happy.
So let's move on to.
Do you think we should talk about the final battle for just a quick second? We kind of skipped over that, and that's one of the biggest parts of the movie. So basically, as we saw in the trailers, plane fights. The plane is full of all different kinds of Avengers gear, like arc reactors, Thor's magic belt that nobody knows how to pronounce, a prototype Captain America shield, among other things. There's an Iron Man helmet, stuff like that.
Yeah.
So basically, if Vulture got his hands on this, he'd be set for the rest of eternity.
Yeah.
And like just hearing like Thor new item, that kind of got me excited because like Thor's main item is his hammer. Well, if he gets other things, that'd be cool. The other things to his repertoire of weapons, I guess, because I don't know what his belt actually does, but I'm assuming it has some kind of thing that he can use as a weapon.
Shoots lasers.
Something magic. Just like that was cool to me. And then like the whole plane fight thing, it's scene itself. I didn't know the plane in the trailers was camouflaged. It just looked like it was just at the night. It was just dark and nighttime and stuff. But yeah, the plane is actually camouflaged, which was Spider-Man like walked by one of the camouflage cameras, or crawled by it rather, and like you see the plane take like a hue of blue and red for a second, which is cool to see.
Yeah.
And then the plane just crashes. Fire everywhere. Yep. They're still fighting though.
Yeah, still fighting. Really cool scene. Still love seeing Vulture.
Mm-hmm.
Vulture, by now, after this plane crash, his wings are severely damaged, but he sees what I think are the arc reactors. I think they were.
He takes some crate, and he's like, I'm just gonna make away with this and cut my losses for the rest of the stuff. And then it just all goes badly.
And then Pete's like, "No, don't fly away! Like your wings are about to explode," and saves him, and then ties him up, and secures all the stuff so no one else can take it. And then, of course, they come in and salvage all the stuff. It was a really cool scene. It's
One
one of
thing that
those
was cute, that was a nod to early in the movie, is he leaves a note saying, like, "Here's Vulture, love Spider-Man," or something like that.
Yeah.
I thought it was kind of cute.
Which nods to his other note that he left on the bike that says,
"Don't steal bikes," or like, "If this is your bike, here you go, don't steal," something like that.
Yeah. If it's not yours, don't steal it.
Yeah.
Which I thought was really nice.
Mm-hmm.
But then, let's just, because this is going to be like an hour video.
Basically, yeah.
The first end credit scene, there was a second one.
There was? I told you!
Well, hold on. There was a second one. But the first one being... So, Tomb is in jail, and he meets up with the Scorpion, who has a Scorpion tattoo. And
so they never call him by name, but it's a Scorpion.
Yeah, they call him by his alter ego. And he really looks like the ultimate version of Spider-Man, or ultimate version of Scorpion, who is this big, or not necessarily big, but he's this mob boss, Mexican drug lord guy who has a bunch of tattoos, who has a bunch of scars on him, and he also has worked with Prowler, who is also in this movie, who is played by Donald Glover.
Oh yeah,
and
uncle of Miles Morales,
who he also mentions. I have a nephew in the city,
which
and then,
we have to only assume that he's like a young child, and those will grow into being the next Spider-Man, hopefully.
And then, obviously, in the Ultimate Universe, who's the Spider-Man? Miles Morales. So that was cool seeing the Scorpion. I'm looking forward to see what he can do. He's a relatively unknown actor, so I really don't know much he's been in. I can't really say much for the guy. But the little transaction they had saying that he knows a lot of people on the outside that want to slit his throat, cough his head, and throw it in a dryer. That was pretty fucking brutal. And one thing I saw, because I did watch a video after everything, was maybe the people he knows on the outside
are the Sinister Six. Yeah, so this is their third attempt possibly at a Sinister Six movie. And hopefully this time it goes through because they are already guaranteed 3 movies. So maybe they'll use them wisely.
I want the third one to be the Sinister Six movie. I think that if they want to do a Sinister Six movie, they need to develop the villains first and show them all off and pick and choose who they want to do throughout the second one.
Yeah, because we can pretty much tell that Vulture will not be one of them because he knows Peter's identity, but he's not telling. So it seemed to be cool since Peter saved his life.
Yeah.
So.
Which, I mean, honestly, still could be.
Still could be, but at least he's not telling his identity. At least right now he isn't.
I wouldn't count him out. Also, I think introducing maybe one villain in the third movie would be fine, but I would want the majority of the final Sinister Six to be introduced, in these first 2 movies, so that they're not trying to figure out and do backstories for like 4 villains.
Who do you think we'll get? Like Scorpion, and who else?
Scorpion, Mysterio.
You think we might see Doc Ock again?
Doc Ock, I want to see him again. Honestly, Green Goblin, and I don't know if they'd actually do Shocker.
He seems more of an underling to me.
Kraven the Hunter would be one I could see. So, we definitely have a lot of choices, and I do want to say this right now before I forget. The reason I say Green Goblin is I think This is my theory that I was thinking about.
Yeah, I think a lot of people are having the same mindset. If I know where you're going with this,
Oh, a lot of people.
I
Okay.
think so. At least I do, and I think at least a couple other people probably think the same thing.
I think Norman Osborn is the buyer of Avengers Tower.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Like, I was expecting to see like maybe like Oscorp coming soon or something like that, logo or something. But I think a lot of people are leading in the same direction. Who at least have seen the other Spider-Man movies.
So maybe we'll see a Norman Osborn Green Goblin.
Mhm.
Maybe we'll see a Harry Osborn. I'm leaning more towards maybe like an actual Norman Osborn Green Goblin. But I think the buyer of Avengers Tower is none other than Norman Osborn coming to New York.
I mean, that's the only thing that makes sense. Because who else would buy it? Nobody else really needs a building that big.
I don't know.
So, and under that, he can hire people like Doc Ock and stuff like that.
Yeah,
Because
sure.
he needs his scientists.
And then, like I said, there is a second after credit scene or post credit scene.
I told you.
And Justin, it was just another what's it called? Another thing from Captain America.
Oh, another just little stay in school kids kind of thing.
Yeah, it's just one of those kind of things.
Did you know what the topic he was talking about?
Just like be fuck.
Be fucked.
Be fucked. Be something.
One thing, just a couple little
PSA. That's what they're called. PSAs.
Yeah. A couple of things I want to point out real quick. The fact that they, or at least Peter acknowledges Captain America as a war criminal, which of course he is, but it's still odd to hear Captain America be called a war criminal.
Yeah, sure.
And this Aunt May knows that Peter is Spider-Man, which like the other ones they kind of like alluded towards it, but it was never a conversation they had. But this one, she literally sees him in the suit. So I think
the fuck?
Yeah, cut the credits. But I think it's a good thing that she knows, because it makes more sense. Like, why is he getting out at 3 a.m. and coming home sometimes like with bruises? Like,
Yeah.
he dodged his question before by saying he lost the Stark internship, but he never gave a true answer. Like, why am I sneaking out like in the middle of the night? For reasons.
Yeah, and let's as basically as our final thing, because this is going to be fun to upload. Aunt May, Marissa Tomei. Of course, she is absolutely a beautiful specimen, and everyone is drooling over her in this movie. Fucking the diner guy is drooling over her. Tony Stark is drooling over her. Ned's drooling over her.
But as we know, she does not reciprocate the feelings for Stark.
No,
she doesn't care for him too much.
Doesn't care for him too much. So of course, Marissa Tomei, Aunt May, beautiful lady. I enjoyed her as Aunt May. I thought that a lot of people, not a lot of people, but everybody was just like, okay, they're just getting younger and younger.
I mean, because it makes sense, because Peter's only 15.
So she would probably be in her, because Marissa Tomei's in her 50s.
Yeah, I mean, I'd see her about the same age. She's like 50, like early 50s.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
So this Aunt May is probably in her mid 40s, early 50s.
Mm-hmm.
I'm leaning towards like mid 40s, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
Same age as probably Peter's parents. Maybe they're. I think that maybe her parent or his parents are maybe a little bit younger than her.
Yeah, they probably were like the younger sibling.
It'd be Ben's.
Yeah.
It'd be Ben's younger sibling. But yeah, so good stuff. Good stuff. Really good movie. I just love Spider-Man.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's just safe to say. I just love Spider-Man, and I always say after I see like a MCU movie, I'm like, that's my new favorite one. That's my new favorite one. That's my new favorite one. But because it's Spider-Man, and because I did enjoy this one so much, not that I think it's the best MCU movie, but I think it's my favorite.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of other ones that are better, but I really enjoyed this one.
Mm-hmm.
Just,
As a first going for a Marvel-made Spider movie, it was a good time.
Oh yeah.
So on to ratings and recommendations then.
Yes.
Finally, if anybody in the world is still watching.
Yeah, probably not.
So, how about you go first since you're so excited?
I am going to give Spider-Man Homecoming. I don't know what to give it. Like I want. I'm good. Oh God, what am I gonna give it? I'm gonna give Spider-Man Homecoming a 10.
Are you gonna go for a 10?
I gave Wonder Woman a 10, and I enjoyed this just as much as Wonder Woman, so I'm gonna give Spider-Man Homecoming a 10.
I'm gonna give Spider-Man Homecoming an 8. And do you recommend?
I'm gonna give Thor Ragnarok a 0.
Oh my god, an 8 is still a great score!
I totally recommend Spider-Man Homecoming. Go
and I do
see
too.
It.
2 thumbs up. Just keep up with the MCU movies, because they're always a good time. You're basically, since like last year, you're guaranteed a quality film that is not kind of dumb at all. They're usually pretty smart now. So they're good.
Yeah.
Just keep going. Just keep going on this train until it crashes. So any final thoughts?
I'm Spider-Man.
And with that, guys, we'd like to thank you all for watching. Let us know down below, what did you think of Spider-Man Homecoming? Until next time, guys, we'll see you later.
Thwip.